Strong looks different for each of us, and it's time to put focus on our unique journeys that get us there. This space, created weekly, is for athletes to improve their mindset in order to better navigate challenges that come up in sport and in different seasons of life. On this show, we ask the questions that lead to better answers and have the conversations that truly matter. This is the Becoming Your Strong podcast. Hey, you guys. Welcome to another episode of the podcast. If you are a new listener, which I know we've been having a ton of lately, welcome. Very, very excited to have you here, especially for this week, because it is race weekend for me. And there's a lot of thoughts, a lot of emotions, just a lot of things going on for me right now. And I'm excited to just authentically share where I'm at in hopes that it helps you with whatever you are dealing with in life. And maybe you have your own race coming up here soon. But before we jump into that, let's go ahead and talk about the Becoming Your Strong moment of the week. So this moment is something where I want to go back and celebrate you, celebrate the people that day in and day out are doing big things, but maybe we ourselves just struggle to celebrate those things, and just going out and shouting out the listeners who are doing big things and stepping in to their version of strong every single day. And the person that I want to shout out this week is actually one of my clients, Miss Linda Cooper, who did some big things this weekend. So I started working with Linda about 10 to 12 weeks, maybe it's 13 weeks. Either way, it doesn't matter. Before World Championships this last December. And Linda is one of the most badass 55 to 59-year-olds I've ever met in my life. She does these huge Spartan trifecta race weekends. Like, this girl is an animal. And she also is just the biggest ray of sunshine. Like, so much joy. Absolutely adore her. And so when I got the chance to work with her, we were working on all three race styles. She had qualified in the fit, the mile, and the strong. And it was just such a cool thing for me at World Championships to watch her race. When the very first DECA fit that she did, she couldn't even fully run the whole thing. Like, she had to run, walk, and do some things here and there, but still, again, ended up qualifying in a really good spot. And then at World Championships, she was able to run the whole thing. And she goes, I was really close to podium, but also at the same time, I don't care, because for me, it was so cool to just be able to run the whole thing, even when I felt like I was on the verge of dying. Like, I ran the whole dang thing. And that to me is progress and things that I want to celebrate. And then flash forward to yesterday, it was DECA very first DECA weekend in Ocala. And not only did she do a repeat of running the whole thing, but she took first place for her age group. And I'm just so excited for her, because what this really highlights is the time that it takes to get to where you want to go. Time is easily one of the biggest and most common reasons that people tend to give up before they can actually reap the rewards of their work. So for Linda, it was digging deep to show up in some capacity every single day for the last year to get to this very point where she got to stand on top of the podium. Some days she was super motivated, and other days I was getting a text from her where she's like, I really had to dig deep today because I didn't want to. Some days she was able to give 100%, and others she was like, I got to step back. I need to take a recovery day and just take care of myself instead of hitting this training session. All of that to say that, yes, it's going to take a while to get to where it is that you want to go. But if you find a way to show up every single day in just some capacity, not only where will you get to where it is that you want to be, but now you are learning to trust and believe in yourself to do big things no matter the odds. And that is such a win. So hats off to you, Linda. Really, really pumped and excited for you. All right. Here we go. Topic for this week is navigating race expectations. So first weekend, first race, big race weekend, first big DECA race weekend of the year since World Championships. And part of me is like, holy shit, Here we go again. Another year of just fighting tooth and nail for seconds. And here we go. It feels kind of early to be back at it. Like, ideally I wanted a little bit more of just like some time to do some different types of races and just really recharge before hitting the grindstone again. But also the other part of me is like really excited because I get to try some new race styles this weekend. Like, for example, I'm going to go and do a Hyrox event this weekend. And it's going to be the Hyrox Strong. So there's no running at all. I've always told myself that if I could do a Hyrox without the running, I think that I would love it. And I get to actually do that this weekend. So I'll start off with that event on Saturday. On Sunday, I'm going after the Strong Ruck, which is the event that I became a world champion at this last World Championships in December. And then later that day, they're holding the very first DEKA Atlas ever to happen in all of history. And so I will get to try that for the first time as well too. So I just get to try some new things and I'm attacking the big goal. And one of my big goals is to just become an absolute monster at the Strong Ruck. And I really, really want to defend my world champion title at World Championships later this year for the Strong Ruck, which I know is not going to be an easy feat this year because I have some really solid competitors in the field. And it's not to say I didn't last year, but this year, like some of the girls I competed with in the Elite Strong are like, yo, I want to get in on this. And it's going to be hard. They're going to push me. But I'm like, how freaking awesome is that? Like, this is such a gift. Most people are like, well, crap. Like, I don't know if I can do it. I'm like, I get to see now just how good I can actually be because of that extra push and pressure that they're going to put on me just to like really dig deep and go to that place. And to me, that is really cool. Like that is just showing how important environment is to your goals. If you put yourself where you're not the best, where you're the underdog, then you are going to elevate. If you allow for yourself to, you are going to elevate yourself to a level that you did not even know was possible or realistic. And so I'm really grateful that these women are starting to get into this because I'm like, all right, this is exactly the kind of fight and push that I want to build. This is how I'm going to build that character to step into the new level. Like, bring it on. And so one of the things that happened as of recently over the last couple of weeks is that there was a brand new world record that was set for the Strong Ruck. And I, of course, just being me, want to chase after it because that excites me. And I also want to set the new one at the same time because that's also me. And there are several people, and I thank all of you who are literally just like riding on my coattails and consistently giving me all of the love that you guys are just rooting for me to go out there and take it down and kick some major ass. Like, I know that my best training partner, I'm going to call him my Biffle, AJ, he's like, I'm going to sign up for the Ruck just for you so that I can do it next to you and we're going sub 14 together. Like, that's the kind of love and support that I have from people around me. And I'm just so blessed. I'm so freaking blessed. Now, when it comes to taking down this goal, and when I look at this weekend, again, I'm excited about it, but I'm also slightly terrified because I know more than anyone how expectations can roll. And I also know that this weekend, that when it's time to do the race, it's going to come down to it being a mental game. Like, I truly believe majority of racing is mental. Like, you can build up the most physical like strength and endurance ever, but if you don't have the mental piece, like, you might as well have just not have started in the first place. So I know how much of this is going to be mental. I know for me that doing what I want to do this weekend is going to be based on having the confidence in what I can do, what I know that I can do, and also not getting wrapped up in achieving the specific outcome of breaking the world record. I've really struggled in the past with having these kind of high race expectations because if you have them and it goes according to plan, then freaking amazing. But if it doesn't, you find yourself as a failure. and not celebrating what actually happened, all of the amazing things that happened and how far you've actually come. So I wanted to come on the podcast today to really talk about how I'm feeling going into this race weekend and just some like mental shifts, some things that I'm having conversations with myself on that will help me not only perform my best, but also just allow for me to celebrate myself no matter what happens. So the first thing that I want to share is that I believe that you can have high expectations, and we should have high expectations of ourselves. But those expectations cannot become our measure of success and our source of happiness. High expectations are what keep us elevating. It's what keeps us reaching a little bit further from selling ourselves short on race day. But we have to get really good and intentional at drawing the line to make sure that they don't become the measure of our self-worth and how we feel about our efforts based on whether we met these expectations or not. It's so much easier said than done. So much easier said than done. But these are some of the things that have helped me draw that line. And so the first thing is that remembering that goals are just a compass and they are not the required destination. By going after the world record, I am challenging myself to go to a place physically and mentally that I've never been before. And that alone is such a win, regardless of whatever happens and wherever it is that I end up on that map. I'm almost looking at this endeavor as like I'm going fishing and I'm casting a line in a general direction, and whatever I get out of it is going to be so much more than if I never casted that line at all. So I'll be okay if the worst case scenario is that I walk out of that weekend with a ton of lessons learned and areas of opportunity to focus on and moments where I'm like, God, that was really hard, but I'm so proud of myself that I didn't give up when it would have been so much easier to just stop. Like, I would be totally okay with that, right? And just being able to celebrate those. Another thing that has really helped me to not get lost in these race expectations is to race my race and not someone else's. These women that I'm competing against have done this just a little bit longer than me. They may have another year or two on me just doing DECA in general, maybe just in hybrid racing in general. And they also have very strong athletic backgrounds. Like some of them are D1 collegiate athletes. Like they've just been fit, like really fit for a long while. And like a few years ago, I was sitting on the couch lethargic, didn't even want to get up, right? So therefore, I cannot expect myself to perform like how they're performing. And my race is going to look a little different. And that's okay. What's not okay is if I go chasing their paces, not only will I burn out, but I'm going to lose every single bit of joy in the race itself. My favorite part of racing is where you feel so confident in what you're doing in that moment and you're able to hit that flow state where you just go there. You just grind. I can't do that. I can't accomplish that feeling and get into that flow state when I'm racing someone else's strategy. So I need to stay true to mine. And wherever I'm at in my journey at this moment, like I need to stay true to the fact that I can't row at a 142 pace and not burn out. I can't ski at a 150 pace and not burn out. I'm not there yet. And that's okay, right? I just need to stay true what I know that I can bring to the table and whatever my specific strategy is. And it's okay if that's not world record material yet. It will be, though, if I stay the course and stay focused on me. I have no doubt in my mind that it will be at some point. So these last few days of training leading up to this weekend won't be about pushing myself to the limits. It's just going to be about eliminating those final unanswered questions that I have and just some of those doubts that I have so that when it's time to race, I can just turn my brain off and just go for it. And so if you're finding yourself in a similar situation where you're getting ready to race, like, please don't knock yourself out and trying to build this fitness that's not going to happen in 24 to 48 hours. Like, just give yourself the freedom to pull back on that, to trust that all of your fitness is there. Now you just need to work on like some of those little bitty transitions and just Maybe it's even practicing your warm up, because how many times do you get to like a race and you're like, oh my God, I'm nervous. I have the butterflies. I have to poop. Wait, when should I fuel? Oh yeah, warm up. What am I doing again? We all do, right? It's total race brain for every single one of us. And so maybe it's just taking an entire day to put yourself in that situation and to practice what that warm up's going to look like. So when it's time to get there and do it, you just do it. The last thing that I want to share that is going to really help me navigate these high expectations for this weekend is to remember to do the best that I can with what I have in the tank for that moment. By this point, when I do the strong ruck, I will have done a high ruck strong the day before, which I have done some of this race, and I really liked it. It felt really good, but of course it's going to create some sort of fatigue. So I might walk into the next day a little bit more fatigued. I might not get a ton of great sleep that night. I might not be feeling well at all the next morning, especially with the freaking flu going around right now, right? Anything could happen. But by remembering to do the best with what I've got in this moment will keep me present and not thinking about the next station or the overall outcome of the race. Just how can I show up the best me in this moment right here? Guys, some days you've got it and some days you just don't. To measure your worth and success off of a singular moment in time is to rob yourself of the joy you deserve to have. It's robbing yourself of the opportunities to celebrate all you've overcome to get to this point, and it no longer allows you to see how life is showing up for you in these challenging moments. Do the best with what you have in that moment, and remember what a gift it is that you have this chance to show up for yourself as the best version of you. Thank you guys so much for showing up for you today, and I truly hope that this episode helped. If it did, be sure to rate, review the podcast, but more importantly, send this to a training partner, send this to a race buddy, anyone that needs to hear this message so that they can show up their version of strong as they attack these big race goals and expectations that they have of themselves. Next week, you guys, get freaking pumped because I have a stellar guest interview lined up that is going to absolutely blow your freaking socks off. So have a great week, you guys. Wish me the best of luck, and I'll see you guys then.